This is the Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Brueski and continuing coverage of the case against Rex Heuermann.
In some of the most infamous criminal cases in American history, there's one thread that cuts deeper than violence. It's denial. And it's not just denial by the perpetrator, but by those who loved them. When Chris Watts confessed to killing his family, his mother refused to believe it. When serial killers like Israel Keyes or Rodney Alatia were exposed, family and friends often said the same thing. Not the man I knew, because the person behind closed doors was someone else entirely. And now we find ourselves hearing those same words echoed in the Gilgo Beach case from Asa Ellerup, the wife of accused serial killer Rex Heuermann. In this segment, we examine one of the most emotionally loaded sections of the documentary on Peacock right now. It's Asa expressing and telling Rex she loves him, or if telling him she loved him would hurt him. It's a baffling statement on its face until you look deeper, until you understand projection, trauma, and how the mind reshapes reality to preserve the life it's built. Robin Dreeke brings his decades of behavioral analysis with the FBI to unpack what's really going on beneath Asa's words. Is she protecting Rex or protecting herself from the truth? And what does it mean when a family member still sees a father where the world sees a perpetrator? It's not about excusing anyone. It's about understanding how people survive unthinkable truths and how sometimes denial is the only thing holding someone together. And as you watch in the comment section on YouTube, tell me what you think. Have you been through a trauma like this? Hopefully not quite this bad, but maybe. Or a trauma where the person you think you knew for years turns out to be somebody completely different. How did you deal with it? Again, comment section on YouTube on this video. Please let us know what your thoughts are. I want to take a look at this other clip here, because it's a really weird statement. It goes back to Asa, and it talks about not wanting to make Rex upset and what would make Rex upset. And the answer to that question is very bizarre. Let's take a look, and we will talk about it on the other side.
Bye. I'm talking to him all the time, but he only has a certain amount of time to be able to make calls. So I can't get too comfortable talking to him about things that are going to hurt him.
What would hurt him? What are the things that hurt him?
Telling him that I love him. That will hurt him. The two of us were married for 27 years. We were 100% part of each other's lives. Does everybody really believe everything they hear?
Rex Heuermann is a demon.
Charged as a serial killer.
Do you really believe everything that's being said?
This man is a sexual sadist.
He enjoyed torturing his victims.
Well, we didn't buy it.
Telling him that I loved him, that would make him upset. What does that mean?
So here's my conjecture.
Yeah.
I think there's a decent probability that she's placing the empathy that she has on him, that he has, that he's just like her, that he, like she sees him as a great family man. And I think that she thinks he sees himself as a good family man, and that because it would hurt her, you know, kind of like, you know, so let's take a look at the Delphi murders, Richard Allen real quick. Richard Allen was devastated by what this was doing to his wife and his family, you know, being accused of murdering these girls. Yeah. And I think that she thinks that since it would hurt her to hear, you know, that he loves her if she's going to jail. I think it's the pain of the relationship, the pain of being emotionally separated is what would hurt her, was being emotionally separated from the family man. And so I think she's then reversing and putting it on him that he wouldn't want to hear how much she loves him because it'll hurt him even more that they're separated. I think that was the really intent there. What was interesting also was you see how long of a pause she had too with the blocking of the eyes closed, because she's really trying. I don't think she understands what would hurt Rex. I think what she was thinking of was what would hurt her to hear, and then place that on him, because it would hurt her to hear him say how much he loves her, because it would just remind her that they're separated and might not ever see each other again.
Yeah.
So again, I think it was her superimposing what she would feel on him.
That makes sense. Here's another clip of Asa talking about
This
life.
is going to be the first time that I'm going to go to court and see Rex. Of course, I'm anxious. Everybody's going to be staring at me. That should do it. All of these girls that were found on Gilgo Beach, they were girls. They were somebody's daughter. They were somebody's sister. Nobody deserves what they got. But Rex was not seeing prostitutes. He's a family man. He didn't do this. I would need to hear it from Rex, face to face, that he killed these girls for me to believe it. My husband never kept me out of anything. That's why I'm going to the courthouse. That's why I want to see it for myself. It's important for me to know what he's going through. And I want to be a part of it.
There's a lot there. I didn't even know where to begin. She wants to go. Yeah, go for it. What stood out to you?
She said, "I need to hear it from him."
Yeah.
No, she wouldn't believe it anyway.
That's what that was what my question was, and my mind went somewhere else. What would happen if she heard it from him? What if she just heard that he admitted that he was seeing prostitutes? Because that answers that question. That was a question I think a lot of us had. Was this kind of an open relationship, at least for him, where he could go do it, and she just kind of, when he does it on the side, and I'm okay with it, or clearly not?
I don't think so. I think so. Again, trying so hard to have deep empathy on this, like placing myself in her shoes. Like, I think the response would be, Rex, don't say that. You don't have to say that to save me, or I mean, I think she's going to place herself in the role. She would place herself in the role of thinking him sacrificing himself in some way to save her and the killed kids by admitting it. That's how I think there's no way I don't think in a million years she'd accept anything he'd say or anyone will say about him as of today. Yeah. And she's not going. So again, here's what was interesting too. The other statement she made, I need to see what he's going through.
Yeah.
He's not going to court to learn the truth. She just wants to go see him to see what he's going through. Again, what's that? It's empathy, him, connection, comfort. I mean, it has nothing to do with facts and details. To her, there again, from her own words, from her own behaviors, I don't think there's a fact or detail anyone could present, including Rex, that would say he did this. And anything he says is to protect her and the family because he's a family man. I mean, so you see how she's capsulated that one statement, he's a family man, but it's going to rationalize every single behavior that's incongruent with what her image of him is.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see, I don't know if we played
The allegation is that when you married Rex, he'd already committed a homicide. Had you had any knowledge of that, you wouldn't have married this man and then chose to have children with him, correct?
No, there's no abnormal behavior that I ever actually noticed. And if there was any knowledge at all, some unusual behavior in that man, I would have walked out the door.
You wouldn't have brought your young son to live in an environment like that?
No.
That's an odd one. That's the one I've been trying to, I don't know which one that was. Her body language in there is really interesting, where she's taught when she's asking or answering that question of there was no abnormal behavior. She just kind of goes on that list there, but she's not looking up at the camera. She's not looking at the guy. She's down. And then all of a sudden, her head pops up. I wouldn't have done. It reminds me of a Karen Reed clip where she like, what kind of a mad woman would I be? Or what kind of a killer would I be if I did that with the crazy eyes? It was that where it's like, I'm going to look down and then that to address what everybody else is saying is reality. What was your take?
Yeah, she didn't know what to say, blocking, from having to face it. And then she thought she came up with a great statement to counter it.
Yeah.
I think she got excited the fact that she came up with something to say that was perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she's trying to say, I'm very smart. I can read people well, and I wouldn't have made that choice for my kids. Yeah. And that was her expressing. I think she got excited by the fact that she came up with a
gotcha. Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. He's not that guy. God, look, I'm smart. I would never bring my kids in that thing because again, if you approach everything you hear from her with that underlying understanding of she was never curious. Mm-hmm. It answers every question.
No, it really does. Here's how
and so why did you bring your kids in this environment? Because you didn't ask the questions. What are you doing with your time? Why are you buying your parents' house? Why do you have a secret room? Or why do you have a room that I can't go see? Why do you have this massive gun collection? What do you get at? Not that you have the gun collection. It's like a simple question is like, what enjoyment do you have from the gun collection?
Yeah.
What enjoyment do you have by having your family house? What enjoyment do you have by not doing renovations or improvements? What enjoyment do you have? So again, always asking a what question to understand the person you've been married to for your entire life, since 18 years old, you've been together, but that lack of curiosity allowed him to feel safe. This is why it's such a collaborative relationship. Yeah. They both felt very safe with each other.
Yeah. Yeah,
mutually
they really
beneficial. It's a very symbiotic relationship. She got the family man from her procession, and he got someone who didn't ask any questions whatsoever.
Yeah, and it was just all it was like a perfect storm, I think, for her to be able to.
Which then to bring, if you getting off of the human side of this, which brings in of how this has fallen apart for him. When you control that environment and you get placated by the comfort around you, you make a lot of mistakes over time. Mm-hmm. And I think when we've only seen a glimpse of the evidence of his missteps. And I think when the trial hits, we're going to see a lot of mistakes he made because he got very, very comfortable in that house of asking questions.
Yeah, and that's a spooky thing too about nobody asking questions is the fact that some of the bodies literally had Asa's hair on them, had the daughter's hair on them as DNA. If that's not, I don't know what's going through her mind, going through Asa's mind, other than, is this just some big setup? They're framing my husband. She doesn't say those sort of things in this documentary at all, but you'd imagine there has to be something going through her mind of, well, what is the real reason? If it's not him, how did this happen? How did they find this stuff? How did this all work out? Is it all a setup? That's an easy one just to jump to if you don't have any explanations and you feel you don't need to come up with any. You just tell yourself that.
But you're actually being curious that she's not.
Then she may not even be wondering at all. It's just that's not it.
She's not wondering who did it. She just knows it's not him. That's all she's focused on. The family man doesn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know who did it because it's all set up because Rex is not that guy. It's just, it keeps circling back to the simple thing. She's not curious. She's not asking questions and she doesn't, it's not that she doesn't even want to know. Because not wanting to know means you are even entertaining the thought. Mm-hmm. I don't think she's entertaining that thought whatsoever. It's just not cogniting for her. It's impossible in her mind, in her universe. Him doing this is completely impossible. And there's not one thing anyone can say, including him, that can change her mind.
Yeah, I agree. Even at the end of the day, if he comes out and is like, yep, I did this. If he pulls a BTK at the end and is like, here's what I did. And he goes down the laundry list. I think she may keep telling herself, he's just saying that to preserve our family.
Yeah. The one other area I was curious about, because he's been doing this supposedly for such a long time. I looked up the number of typical victims serial killers have, and it still ranges between 7 to 8 murders that they commit is on the average for a serial killer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's outliers on that, but for the number of years he's been doing this, Again, it didn't range outside of that 7 or 8, when I'm trying to do these comparisons, but I would not be surprised if there's more that pop up. Now, I know they're doing a good deep dive to try to identify potentially more, because here's a challenge with it, is serial killers typically have a methodology for what they do, because that gives them that sexual and emotional satisfaction from reliving these things, the way they position bodies, all the things they do. But because he assumingly was killing before he moved into his parents' house, the way he did that is going to be different than when he moved into his parents' house. And then the fact that they're planning on moving down to North Carolina, he's visited all these other places, it's going to shift up how he did these murders. And so that fingerprint of what serial killers generally have is going to have shifted from every location. So I just don't get the sense from him that his gratification was coming, I think, in a different way than other serial killers, because serial killers are positioned the bodies, they'll angle some of the bodies to face them, even though they're not physically there, because they can think about it, they can imagine it. And I actually looked up, as I remember last week we were talking about this, him creating these detailed lists and checklists of things to do. Originally, I was thinking he did that so he could actually look at that to get that same satisfaction, but apparently he deleted those and destroyed those. Well, he thought he did. So that wasn't it. So I keep thinking about, where is he getting that satisfaction? How is he getting this need constantly met over a period of time? So I think there's a lot more we're going to see and be revealed here.
Robin Dreeke, retired FBI Special Agent, Chief of the Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program. Thank you so much for your insight in all of this. What Robin just laid out is as unsettling as it is illuminating. Because when someone's reality collapses, they often build a new one just to survive. Asa Ellerup isn't just protecting Rex, she's protecting the identity she's lived in for nearly 3 decades. The mother, the wife, the woman who believed she married a good man. To accept that Rex might be a monster isn't just devastating, it's existential. It means that every Christmas morning, every vacation, every loving moment she clung to may have existed beside something unthinkable. And for Asa, that contradiction is unbearable. So she rejects it, understandably. She can't even entertain the question, because asking it opens the doors to a world she refuses to live in. Victoria, her daughter, is standing on a very different edge. She's younger, more pliable to truth, but deeply conflicted. Robin framed it perfectly. This is a family navigating 2 parallel universes, one built on memory, the other built on evidence. And when those 2 realities finally collide, something inside has to give. But perhaps the most chilling revelation is this: Rex didn't need to hide anything, because no one was ever asking. Asa never questioned the gun vault, the secret room, the finances, or the late nights. Not because she was complicit, but because the world she was living in didn't require those questions. And for Rex, that was a perfect environment to carry out whatever dark truth he may be hiding. This is more than a case about a man accused of a serial murder. It's a study in manipulation, emotional survival, and how denial in the right setting can become just as dangerous as the crimes themselves. Let me know in the comment sections what your thoughts are on this case. And be sure to press subscribe on YouTube if that's where you're watching us. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, wherever it may be, please hit subscribe there as well. And do check out our YouTube channel. Just search Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski to join in that conversation. Until next time, I am Tony Brueski. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. We'll talk again real soon.
Want to stay on top of the latest true crime cases? Press subscribe now and never miss a breaking update from the Hidden Killers podcast and True Crime Today.